You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. I don't think we have any new callers today, but we do have, well, let's be honest, what we have is Andy from Kansas and Kyle from Madison. So I'll tell you what, if you were planning on giving me a donation this month because you just love the work I do, which I appreciate, I love that you guys help me out, why don't you just go ahead and give it to Kyle from Madison or Andy from Kansas? This is basically their show. So anyways, let's go ahead and turn up the volume. Kyle, what you got going on, man?
Brian, what's up, buddy? Kyle from Madison. How are you?
Good.
So, Hapley had his press conference thing, yesterday or the day before. I've just seen a few minutes of it. I got to go back and watch it, but I think dude's impressive, really. I just like how he answers questions. I don't know, just you get the idea that here's somebody that knows what they want and is confident, you know. I guess the rest we'll just have to wait and see on the field, and I got to thinking, since it's May and all, I'll go ahead and engage in some putting the cart before the horse thinking here. But going from Joe Barry, where there was, let's face it, zero chance he was going to get another head coaching job, basically, no matter how good he did. So you didn't really have to worry about that. And maybe we won't with Hapley, but I just thought it was kind of interesting to think, all right, how good of a job would Hapley have to do in his first year to be considered a head coaching candidate for other teams? Or, and I'm asking you this question, or is there pretty much no scenario where that's going to happen after 1 year? I don't know. I can see it go both ways. I think certainly somebody inside 1265 must have at least thought about what the plan of succession would be, you'd imagine, because, you know, if they win it all, maybe somebody takes a shot. I guess it depends on how high the defense is ranked and whatnot, but just curious what you thought, it would take for him to get some looks after just 1 year. Because I can see it both ways. I can see the Packers being absolutely lights out and getting a championship, and maybe it doesn't happen for him immediately. But I can also see GM see the young coaching movement and the LaFleur tree and think, okay, here's the next up-and-comer. Even if they don't maybe do as well as we hope they will. I could even see that. So, I don't know. Certainly not worried about it. Let's get out there and have that best-case scenario take place, and then we'll worry about it. But it is kind of interesting to at least think about, because it would be a shame. You get in, you get this new system of defense installed. The guy leaves after 1 year, and then I would imagine you're going to want to run that same system still, even if Hapley leaves, because you've just got all these pieces that probably can run it, which to me means there's probably somebody in-house that they have their eye on, maybe for the future. I would think the way that this team operates, that would be a thing. They've never admitted, but I don't know. Just want your thoughts on that. Talk to you later, buddy.
So I hate to do this, man. I really hate to do this. I just had a vision. Okay. I had a vision, and I'm not mad about it. Is there a scenario in which our defensive coordinator gets head coaching offers after this year? I think so. Let's just draw out a scenario. First of all, he's a defensive guy, so it's kind of second tier, although lots of teams have gone in that direction. The Texans went that direction. It's not a problem. Bears went that direction. I think most people are relatively optimistic. Whatever. It's a thing that happens. I felt like there was a period of time where nobody would touch a defensive coordinator. That's kind of changing a little bit. Here's the vision, man. Packers get a top 3 defense this year. Tear it up. Now you've got Jeff Hafley, former head coach, lots of experience, and beyond experience, he's got a reputation, and he's very well known in NFL circles. And he's very well known among people that are very good at football. We're talking, 49ers and whatnot. There's some people that know some stuff, especially if you want to start bringing culture, because he, to me, is sort of a culture guy, right? So why am I acting like I'm excited about something that's so horrible? And it is horrible. You'd hate to have a guy who drags you to a top 3 defense, and then he leaves, and it's like, well, crap. Let me just give you real quick the vision that I just had.
I'm going to try and read this. I went to first grade twice, so I'm going to try and read this right. But imagine for a moment, if you can, a man running down the street with all your worldly possessions, taking from you everyone that you have ever loved and everything that you hold dear. I guarantee you will find a way, by any means necessary, to stop that man. That, very simply put, is pursuit. That's football at its best. That's us at our best. You're at your best when you're doing things for people you love. All the time you practice, all the time you spend away from the people you love, okay? Our job is on Sunday, literally, to honor those people. That's it. That's our job. To go out there and honor the people you love. Play as f***ing hard as you can. Attack the f***ing ball like it's some guy running down the street with your mother, your father. I don't know who my kids, whatever. Like, that would make me out of my f***ing mind. There ain't no f***ing way that guy's getting away from me. And there certainly ain't anybody getting in my f***ing path to block me, to stop me from bringing them back in my life. That ain't gonna f***ing happen, okay? But if you treat it like that all the time, you f***ing practice like that, you commit to practicing like that with each other, you're f***ing unstoppable. Don't know who the f*** is gonna stop you from doing what you wanna do. Everybody understands whooping, okay? I can go to Greece and somebody start getting their f***ing whooped. We all understand what's happening. Okay? We're all speaking the same language, right? We might not be able to communicate, but if somebody getting their kicked, nothing's lost in translation, okay? All over the world, they speak whooping, okay? To the day you die, okay? So here's what I'm saying. Let's eliminate that factor. They can't outwork you. Eliminate that, and let's see what the happens. Let the chips fall where they meant, okay? Let's all just commit to each other. That's what we're gonna do. Don't stop throwing fucking punches. Don't stop attacking the ball. Don't fucking stop finishing blocks, and then we'll see what happens. All right? Love you guys. Let's go have a great fucking practice.
So I had that vision. Look, real quick refresher. Campanile, which is how he pronounces it.
Campanile.
Took me a while to find that. But if you remember, we talked about him. There was a lot of talk, I think 2 years in a row, I'd have to dig around, but about him taking over the defensive coordinator job for the Miami Dolphins. Or at least maybe it were different teams, I don't know, but he was considered and Dolphins fans wanted him desperately to be the defensive coordinator, and it didn't happen. And so it was one of those things where it's like he's right there as far as like the top of the list of guys that are big names for defensive coordinators. He's right there, and people in Miami didn't. Now maybe it's one of those things where there's a reason. You know, there's something going on that's preventing that, kind of like, what's his name? The guy with the Chiefs, everybody thought he should be a head coach that everybody forgot about after he left the Chiefs. I literally can't even remember his name. But it sounds like it was right there. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I kind of want to dig back into it, but it seems like one of those things where I feel like, first of all, if we don't lose Joe Barry, we probably will lose Campanile or Big Tony. because, again, he was right there, and then he goes over with Halfley because they're really close and very similar in philosophy and all that stuff. Plus, he gets a bump in title. He was the co-defensive coordinator / DB coach for Boston College back the last time they worked together. I think they worked it. Maybe they didn't. Actually, I don't think they did. I don't think he was there at the same time. Whatever. That was like his main thing. Then he jumps over to Michigan, bigger program, linebacker coach. Then he jumps up to the NFL, Miami Dolphins linebacker coach. He thinks he's about to get that thing. He doesn't quite get it. He gets a bump in title, linebackers coach / run game coordinator. So it's right there. All right, he's kind of getting a bump by Halfley on that sort of fast track. But if it does happen, I really hope we have the opportunity to hire Big Tony, because he's right there. And as far as finding a guy that's going to continue the legacy, which is interesting because you look at it and go, well, you've got some long-standing defensive guys that are here that you would think would get the opportunity first. But if you want a guy that's, first of all, right there in line to get it, secondly, is going to continue this sort of a defense, I don't know who would be a better option. Anyways, very long answer, but that popped into my head, and it's just, that's the thing. Worst case scenario would be Campanile gets hired as a defensive coordinator. Halfley does not get hired. Year 2, the Packers dominate, and then, Halfley goes away, so we get neither of them. But whatever.
Hey, Kyle again. I wanted to ask you something else.
All right.
Get your comments on it. But we've heard now for a couple weeks from the Packers directly, and quite a few interviews I've heard kind of in the lead up to the draft, and then especially after the draft, about what our base defense looks like. And the Packers have said, Halfley said, I can't remember which press conference now, but I'm positive the Packers have said a couple times now that they want to try to run their base nickel as much as possible. Which, couple questions. Is that a big deal? I mean, are we unique? Or how many teams run base nickel as defense? Is it I guess it would be a 4-3 with a base nickel. Is that a novelty? What are the defenses that do that? Would be my first question. And then the second question is why? And I guess for me...
Pause the wrong one. Unless I'm misunderstanding something in the terminology here, which is something unique, it sounds to me they're talking about, and I probably am missing something, but my first thought, I guess I'll say, when I hear them say that is, as a base, they're going to be running nickel, which is to say they're running nickel most of the time. And I'm pretty sure 32 teams do that. I could be wrong. As for why, it's a passing league. Teams pass most of the time. So it's geared more toward, let's get more DBs on the field and then get some kind of bigger, more attacking DBs to try to mitigate the fact that they're occasionally going to run, and we're not quite built for that or set up for that. So I don't know. Maybe there's more clarification on what you're asking, because I outside of that, I don't know what base nickel would mean.
It does make sense, because how many times, well, especially under Joe Barry, but Pettin as well, have we seen the Packers just absolutely be just atrocious at covering the tight end in those third and medium situations? I mean, it has been just a blight on this team.
You mean with the outside linebackers?
Even seems like. Maybe I'm exaggerating that because it's just when they are in the game usually is so brutal. Seems like the tight end is always icing things against us. But how many times have we seen offenses in like a 3rd and 6? A, they're not afraid to run on us because they know they can get it often.
Right.
And then B, we get stuck with a linebacker out there, and then they move the tight end around until they get the matchup they want, and then boom, they got the slant for 7 yards, first down. Or if we don't tackle them, it's like for 28, 28 yards or something. So I like the idea of being able to go with like they'll probably have some cool name for it, but basically a heavy nickel without having to get your linebacker out. So you get an extra safety in there as your nickel back. You get a much more competent, it's not at a cornerback level of coverage. At least you're getting a more competent coverage person who can still bring the lumber in the run game. I can absolutely understand why that would be appealing personally, but I want to get your thoughts on it. I'm sure there's a yin and a yang to it, but yeah, I can just see how doing that, and then it's not such a tell when you bring a guy in, you want to blitz, like an Oladapo or a Williams, you're blitzing them from like a heavy nickel, well, that's not such a tell because maybe they play that in those possible run or pass downs. But want to get your thoughts on the nickel base in a 4-3, the prevalence of it, and how you think that'll translate and why we would do it. All right, thanks, bud.
It's interesting now that you say that. It's like I'm sitting here. My first thought is as you said, what is the yang to the yin? Or let's say yin. Is yin wrong? Yin? I think yin and yang makes more sense. I mean, you're going to make like the opposite kind of thing. Wouldn't yin yang make the most sense? Why is it yin and yang? I'm sure they mean something, but still, just put a G on it so we can all just move on with our lives. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about, the fact that we always talk, Preston's on the guy or whatever, and it's like, yeah, but that has to happen. That's part of the process, blah, 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 blah. And then you think about it, it's like, well, not in a 4-3, it's not. If we're in base and they're like, all right, well, I'm going to flex out my tight end, so now you have to take your outside linebacker and put him on that. Well, now that outside linebacker isn't Preston Smith, it's Edgerrin Cooper or Quay Walker or whoever happens to be the guy. I'm not saying it's ideal, but it's significantly better than Preston. It's like the outside linebacker position kind of reminds me, I always complain about SIS because they're one of the archaic things that doesn't just define edge as edge. It's like you got defensive end and linebacker, and some of the linebackers are pass rush. The bottom line is 3-4 outside linebacker is such an ill-defined position. We view it as an edge rusher, but sometimes it can be manipulated into being like an off-ball linebacker, which is not what he's built to do in any capacity. It's kind of a stupid position. It just is. I mean, forget the stand-up or hand in the dirt thing. Just the outside linebacker in a 3-4 defense is stupid. Now, if you look at, for example, what the guy that ran Wisconsin's defense a couple years ago, I forget his name, but the way he ran a 3-4, and probably a lot of college teams run a 3-4, makes sense because the edge rushers, the outside linebackers, and the inside linebackers or off-ball linebackers are very similar and very much interchangeable. They're even the edge rushers end up being smaller, kind of 230, 40-pound guys, so they're fine dropping in coverage and being interchangeable, and the inside guys can blitz and the outside guys can drop. It makes sense. But it's like it's almost as if as the NFL moved toward the 270-pound edge rushers, 3-4 defense is just stupid. It doesn't make sense. Like, oh, we might drop him. Like, okay. The dude is 10 pounds away from being a nose tackle. What are you talking about? It's really odd. Like I would love to have, some of the people who are in this realm, the film philosophy realm, explain to me how a 3-4 defense works in the NFL today. Like, I get it in college. It's very good at disguising. You never know who's doing what. But as everything's become so specialized, and it's almost like, well, it doesn't matter because they're usually run like a 4-3 defense anyways. Okay, first of all, fine, I guess. But if your argument is 3-4 is fine because we usually don't run it as a 3-4, that's kind of stupid. But beyond that, the problem is base defense. What is the benefit of a base 3-4 defense? Well, it disguises things and you can... No, it doesn't. Because again, especially with the Fangio-style defense, you're not dropping edge rushers and running the linebackers as blitzers. And when you do, it's stupid because, again, we're not running with 250-pound edge rushers anymore. And we don't have 250-pound inside linebackers anymore. The off-ball linebackers have gotten infinitely smaller. They've gone from 250 to 225. And the on-the-line off-ball or the outside linebackers have gone from 255 to 275. So there's no confusion as to who's going to do what. So I asked the question, outside of Fangio runs a Fangio defense because that's what Fangio knows, why is a 3-4 base defense a good thing? I don't necessarily understand. I mean, I guess they're bringing 5 guys as opposed to 4, which is cool. But I mean, if you really like that as a 4-3 defense, you could just send a 5th rusher whenever you want. And you want to talk about disguise, you never know who it's going to be. Could be one of the 3 linebackers, could be a corner, could be a safety. You never know, but somebody's coming. And if we don't, guess what? We have more guys in coverage than a 3-4 defense, which is kind of what you want in today's NFL. Am I missing something here? I know I am, but I don't have any idea why, because again, it's like we watched the 3-4 defense fail because of the structure of the 3-4 defense. It's like, well, you have to drop your edge rushers, your outside linebackers in coverage sometime. It's just the way it is. Well, it's a broken system then. Because 4-3 defensive ends are not getting dropped in coverage. You go look at their stats, maybe they're in coverage like twice for some stupid reason, compared to Preston like 79 times or something. Whatever. I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm not trying to just hype up 4-3 because we switched. It's just as you ask that question, I'm sitting here going, yeah, so why did we do that? And again, in college, you can make it work because they're more interchangeable. The outside linebackers are actual outside linebackers, and it's more of an interchangeable kind of a thing. In today's NFL, it's not. We've got defensive ends standing up on the outside and like, ooh, you never know what we're going to do. Yes, I do. You're a pass rusher, stupid. I know exactly what you're going to do. And please don't make me drop in coverage by flexing a tight end out here because I suck at it and you're going to tear me up and there's nothing I can do about it. I don't know. Somebody tell me. Somebody call in and explain it because I don't get it. I don't understand. All right, kind of rambly today, so why don't we go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. I tell you what, I'm going to skip. We got 2 more calls that are Kyle from Madison. We'll come back to him. But let's just get a new voice in here. We'll go to Nico for a call on the way back. In the hobby, it's not easy being a fan of ripping packs or repacks. We get all hyped up thinking we're going to get some high-value Jordan Love card, but with zero transparency on available cards and hit rates, it's all just a shot in the dark. Until now, introducing slab packs from arenaclub.com, the only repack that provides real value, a complete view on all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Now when I buy slab packs on Arena Club, it finally feels like I know what I'm getting. And honestly, the best thing for me and my son is the fact that we're kind of novices into this. When I walk into a card shop with my son, and a card says it costs $40, kind of just taking his word for it that that's a good value. So I appreciate the transparency on grading, as well as just getting excited about seeing what you could potentially get. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase by going to arenaclub.com/packdaddy. Wow, that's crazy offer. 10% off a $400 slab pack. That's $40 right there. Anyways, that's arenaclub.com/packdaddy for 10% off your first purchase. We all have smartphones, and we all know they're pretty amazing, but they also can be amazingly distracting, especially when we're around other people. So US Cellular wants us to reset our relationship with our phones by putting down our phones for $5. That's right, a company that sells phones wants us to put down our phones. And to see what we find, learn more at uscellular.com/built-for-us.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Hey, it's Nico calling in.
Did I finish his call? Just thinking about it, and it's like, I don't know if I thought Kyle had like a part 2. Anyways, if I missed it, sorry, Kyle. You got 2 more calls. We'll get to them. Nico, sorry. How you doing, man?
Hey, it's Nico calling in. So, I gotta say, the Bears fans are really making a push for the dumbest people on the planet, on the internet, at least. I can't tell you, and maybe it's because I've commented on a few, seeing how the old algorithm works. It shows me every Bears, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I saw one, yesterday, it's talking about how great draft day. I'm like, oh, okay, you had a great draft. All right, yeah, don't trade back and get more picks. Make sure you pick a punter as well, because you can't get one of those, in an undrafted free agent. But anyway,
probably the best draft in 10 years, if we're being honest.
I'm sorry.
You might have to add in the 32-year-old wide receiver and, the freaking safety we brought in or something. But once you do that, best offseason in 10 years for sure.
I just went intelligent for them, and I know they won't get that part, but I know probably not a lot of Bears fans listening to your podcast.
By the way, Nico, you stupid freaking moron, he is the best punter in 10 years, okay? Nobody's ever seen a punter like this. This guy actually scores touchdowns. So why don't you shut your stupid mouth about the punter, stupid idiot Nico?
But, this one was talking about how good it was doing, and said, "Oh, by the way, next year we got to pick in the first round, and the second round, and second round, and third." Like, oh, so next year you're like a normal team that doesn't squander all their picks for nothing.
Right? Yeah, they're bragging about having 7 picks. Guess what, guys? We got a bunch of picks next year. What do you got? We got like 8. We got an extra second. Yeah. Listen, here's the other thing. This might be an amazing draft, right? Might have knocked it out of the park. Here's the problem. And I said this about the Lions too, and I think they're managing kind of well. They're doing some stuff that works. Again, you look at not necessarily the first round, which I still contend was garbage, but if you look at the second round picks they made, the tight end, the safety / slot corner, whatever he is, Brian Branch, they're fantastic, right? So they're kind of navigating. We'll see how it all pans out. I don't think they're on Gutekunst's level, but okay, now Bears, you don't have that first round pick to play with. Well, like you've had for 2 years in a row, as well as other first round, other top 10 picks and everything else, which I think you've squandered. We'll see how this year goes. I know you squandered it. You passed on CJ Stroud. You passed on an elite defensive tackle. You passed on an opportunity to trade back this year and get a haul. I mean, if your quarterback wide receiver situation isn't elite, then I will stand on the fact that you are the biggest pile of crap ever, Ryan Poles. You suck at life. But yeah, no, now, because you're obviously going to just sail into the playoffs, you got to pick at like 22. Sorry, you don't have a top 1 pick this year, you frickin' fraud. Best of luck to you. You going to pick another punter? How about a kicker this time? Best kicker in the history of the world in the first round, maybe, because that's obviously super important, you dumb jag-off.
You're just like a regular team. So, oh my gosh, it's mind-boggling and also funny, stupid. And if there is a Bears fan, listen.
It is weird. Like, why? I legitimately am angry, and I shouldn't be. This is great. This is fantastic. But it's like there's a football fan in me that forgets that this is good and just sits back and goes, "Why are you doing this? Why are you so stupid? Stop it." And then the Packer fans like, "No, don't stop. You shut up. You got to do it the right way, man." I don't know why I get mad. I should be happy. I am happy, kind of, but angry, but happy.
And you're not one of them. I'm sorry, but everyone else who likes your team is a moron. I actually texted a buddy of mine who's a Bears fan, and I said, "So I guess your quarterback is still a Packer fan," because Caleb Williams said that. I guess he's still a Packer fan.
Bears fans are so mad about that. There was I think Matt Ramage made a T-shirt with his tweet, which I mean, it's just high level trolling. It's good stuff, and they are so. You can't stop thinking about the Bears. You're so scared. I would never. I can't believe it. You're bro. This is a solid troll. Shut your stupid mouth. All you've got is Packers suck. Packers after they beat the living crap out of you. And by the way, that's exactly what they were saying back in the 90s when I went to school in Illinois. After the Packers would beat the living crap out of the Bears, and I'd come strolling in with my freaking starter Packers jacket and my Packers backpack, and I'd be rolling in, and I'd be just thinking I rule the world. And what do? I'm not kidding you. Every single time it was the exact same chant. These 9-year-old kids are going, Packers suck. And I'm sitting there going, but we beat the crap out of you. What are you talking about? That's all they got even to this day at a Cubs game that has nothing to do with the Packers in the offseason. After the Cubs get the crap beat out of them, the only solace they have is their one chant, Packers suck, which doesn't even make sense because it's not true. It is true that Caleb's a Packer fan. You don't know how to troll. You don't know what to do, which there's nothing to work with, to be fair. But all you got is Packers suck, which they don't. And you're going to be mad at Packers fans for trolling your quarterback for being a Pack. The only thing that Bears fans exist for is to watch the ruin of the Packers. They've said it out loud. They hate the Packers with a passion. And we have proven to you that your new quarterback, who you think is a god, is a Packer fan, which, by the way, 2 out of your last 3 quarterbacks have been Packer fans. It's a great troll. It makes me so happy. I understand he's got to be a Bears fan now, and he does the little Bears roar thing, which just kind of goes with his whole aura. I'll be honest. Like, everything about him, just he's got a way about him, and the whole like rawr thing is just like, yep, that makes a lot of sense. But anyways, sorry. Go ahead, Nico.
And he said, and now this is coming from a Bears. He might be the one Bears fan who is not a retard. Can I say that anymore? I don't know.
I don't think you could. I'll allow it, but I don't think you're supposed to say that. So I don't know.
Well, I don't care. He said, "Oh, good choice."
Maybe it'll be better if I say that my brother's autistic. Does that make it okay that I don't bleep that out? I don't know. Whatever.
They're a solid organization that always makes good choices. Oh yeah, that's what they do. But anyways, yeah, Bears fans. Oh my gosh. And it is amazing that there are some actual people, like you mentioned yesterday, that like pay money or get paid to make football takes. Say, "Oh, the Bears can go to the Super Bowl next year." Like, are you freaking kidding me?
And it's like I borderline don't even care like the clickbaity stuff. And maybe I'm wrong, but there are times when I look and I'm like, you believe this? Like I understand like if I throw that on social media, they're like, "Oh, you're just buying into the clickbait." Like that's all they're doing. And it's like, I know sometimes they do that, but I don't like these guys are also very arrogant, right? They're extremely arrogant. And I think a lot of these guys, they want to be right. And they're arguing this stuff. They don't want to have this stuff thrown back in their face. They want to be smarter than everybody else. Now, again, some of these guys are caricatures. I think, who's the Dallas Cowboys fan or whatever? And it's not to say that he doesn't try to make arguments, but what are their names? I've never watched the show aside from pulling some clips for the podcast. But you got Shannon Sharp, and the other guy. I don't think they have a show together anymore. But it's like the entire show was obviously a gimmick. They come up with something. They say, you two have to have opposite opinions on this. And then they go and just pretend to have an opinion. But I think a lot of these guys, again, we give them too much credit that they're these masterminds who know how to get clicks. I genuinely think, sometimes anyways, they believe this stuff. And that's what ticks me off. Like, if I think you're just faking it, it's like, okay, you're an idiot. I'm moving on. But it's like when freaking Mr. Big Jaw was like, "Packer fans, we need to have a talk. You don't know what it's like. You're about to find out. You're going to know. Yeah. You think it's great that Rodgers is gone, huh? You don't know what's coming. You don't know what's about to happen. I love you guys so much. You don't even know." Shut your stupid face, dummy, okay? We're fine, and we don't need to be pandered to or talked down to like small little children who are going to crumble because the Packers are going to be bad. Because you know what? Your entire premise that this team is garbage propped up by Aaron Rodgers is stupid. And you're sounding stupid right now. Let me condescend to your level real quick. Packer fans didn't like that I hated that, but I hated that so much. Nico, I promise we're going to get through this call, man. I'm very ranty today.
Let's just pump the brakes, Bears fan. Let's make sure Caleb Williams, one, isn't going to cry after every bad pass he throws. Maybe they should maybe they should just bring his mommy to the little place they take you when you're going to get your...
Bro, Packer fans, listen to me. I understand this is probably a low blow, and maybe Packer fans think they're above this or whatever. And listen, Packer fans, from what I understand, are very respectful. Like, they don't fight other fan bases that are there, super cool, all that stuff. I get it. But I am imploring you, if you are at or around the Bears bench, we got to get some kind of a chant going, or at the very least just scream, "You gonna cry, Caleb?" Like, if he throws a pick, it has to be a thing. Like, can we get on the speakers? Can we pump in like a baby crying every time he throws a pick? We got to do something, man. We got to just get in this guy's head, and I'm talking just high level trolling. At this point, that's all it's about. It's not a rivalry with the Bears. There's no rivalry. It's got nothing to do with a rivalry. This is about just beating a corpse because it's funny. Is that too dark? But that's what I'm talking about here. They're already dead. They've been dead for a decade. They stink. And what I'm saying we need to do is start kicking them. The Bears are me as a little brother. Every once in a while, like I wasn't like a fighter or anything when I was a kid or anything like that. I didn't do anything. I played video games. You know what I mean? That was my thing. I got good grades and I played video games. But every once in a while, like, I don't know, you just get this little brother energy going on, and I go over to my older brother and I would just start screwing with him. Like, I just whip a shoe at his door. And he'd be like, "You do that again, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I don't know what you're talking about." And then you throw another shoe at his door, and he comes out, and he's like, all right. And it's not even like he's mad. It's partially he's like, all right, this is awesome. I get to beat the crap out of my little brother. But partially it's like, all right, I got to assert my dominance here. I got to show you what's up. And I know I'm going to get the crap beat out of me. And my job is to take a beating and then laugh and then tell him it doesn't hurt. And the bottom line is that's the Bears. They keep poking the bear, no pun intended. They keep getting their teeth kicked in. You got Rodgers screaming, I effing own you. Like it's just a brutal beating. And they just keep coming back for more. They're the little brother who's pinned to the ground, getting punched over and over again, laughing, saying, doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt. And then the laughing turns to tears and they're still going, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt. Or you go, okay. And then they get up and then you do it again. That's more like the Bears. Like, okay. At the end of the year, they hate their team. They're like, we suck. I wish we could be like the Packers. I'm so broken right now. They're good every year. We're no good. Remember all those videos? Like Jordan loves him. Like it's over. We're screwed. That's the little brother going, okay. I'm done. I promise I won't do it anymore. And then as soon as the brother goes back to the room, and Packer fans are like, all right, you understand your place. You can shut your freaking mouth. They draft Caleb Williams and they grab a shoe and just throw it at us. Like, all right, you stupid bastard. And that's why, like, oh, you guys are obsessed. Dude, you threw a shoe at me and I'm going to beat the living crap out of you. Like, why am I so like I am toward the Bears? That's why. I'm the big brother in this relationship with a bunch of little brother jagoffs who have not learned their place, and they need to learn their place. They got to learn to have some respect and shut their mouth. Lions fans can run their mouth, and we can have our own little discourse or whatever. Vikings fans are the brother that doesn't do that. They're the little brother who knows they can't fight, and they're just like, whatever. And they're but they're in the back. They're working out. They're like, someday I'm going to get big. I'm going to beat the crap out of both of them. But in the meantime, I'm going to shut my mouth. But the Bears are just that annoying douche brother who, on occasion, was me, that doesn't know when to shut his mouth. All right, here we go. Nico, I will not interrupt you again.
Like the little tent they bring you to get when you get you checked for an injury, they should maybe keep his mommy in the tent. So if he has to go cry in his mommy's lap because he throws a pick six, no one will really see. He can just run in the tent, cuddle up with mommy, get reassured that you're the greatest, Caleb. You can do anything. And then he can come back out, with full of piss and vinegar. We call it the mommy tent. I don't know. But, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see him collapse. I'm really leaning more to where he's going to just not have the right attitude for this sport in the professional realm.
I'm hoping.
But we will see. Go Pack, go!
I wanted to interrupt you so bad. You remember that guy from Happy Gilmore? Hey, Gilmore, you suck. Remember that guy? That's what we need in Lambeau. It could be just a guy, and that could be one of his things. Hey, your mommy in that tent? You going to go cry to mommy, Caleb? Oh, man, just get in that guy's head. And that's the thing, like, it's going to get in the team's head, too. I talked about it before. Remember how the Packers have always had that soft label, right? It sucks, and it gets in your head. And like I said the other day, when New England came to, actually, it might be tomorrow's podcast. It doesn't matter. When New England came into Lambeau, they beat the crap out of the Packers. The Packers couldn't respond. And then they called them fake tough guys, and there was nothing they could do about it. Like, it's a psychological beating. By doing this to Caleb, you think it's not going to permeate the team? The leader of your team has a reputation for being a soft baby back, you-know-what, with his nails painted who cries to mommy. If that's the reputation of the leader of your team, and if things go south and he starts maybe having a little bit of a whiny attitude toward the media, you're telling me that the Bears are going to, have some kind of tough guy swagger? Really? It's going to be tough to do that. Let's just say that. Maybe it's a low blow. Maybe we don't need to go there. But am I going to go there? Yes, I am going to go there. I'm absolutely going to go there. Yeah, maybe I won't get the opportunity. Maybe Caleb comes in. And again, I want to be very clear. I am not saying, nor have I ever said, that I think Caleb is going to fail in the NFL. I have some concerns about him. I mean, which would be a good thing. I don't mean concerns like I'm worried that he's going to fail. But there are certainly a lot of things that I look at and I'm like, I don't know about that. 100,000%, the Bears could be a good football team this year. The Bears could be, the team to beat in the NFC North. I think it's going to be tough because I think Jordan is that freaking dude. And I don't think their GM is as good, and I don't think their head coach is as good, and whatever. But still, it's possible that they knocked it out of the park with Caleb. He is the number one quarterback in football. They've got elite wide receivers, the whole 9 yards, which that's actually all of the 9 yards, but still. Not saying they're going to be bad. I need that on the record, so we're very clear. I'm saying they need to shut their mouth because they've never been anything but bad, and they need to wait until good things happen before they run their mouth. And if they don't, I'm going to call them out for being the idiots that they are. And also, I want desperately for this to fail because I find this to be one of the funniest things. This is one of my favorite things at this point. There's the Packers, and then there's how much the Bears suck. I love it so much. Coming in kind of hot on as like the number 3, as much as I hate the 49ers. I'm kind of starting to dig this Lions rivalry a little bit. Now that I've found them and we interacted with them a little bit, it's like, all right, let's do this. The 49ers, I just, the hatred is so deep. It's not even like, I don't want to engage with them. I just want that team to not exist. Like, I want to battle the teams in the NFC North. I wouldn't mind getting a little revenge on Tampa for several things they've done to us that are a little disappointing that we don't need to get into. The 49ers, I don't want to play them ever again. I just hate them. And if it turned out that they just went bankrupt and there was some serious scandal and the owner owes like $1 billion in back taxes and is evading the IRS and they just have to like fold the company and everything else and the government seizes the 49ers and then the government runs the 49ers, oh, that would be the best thing ever. Can you imagine the government running a football team? Oh, they would be so bad. Oh, my Lord. Oh, we should do that. We should have a 33rd team run by the government just for the hell of it. Who cares? We throw billions of dollars around like it's nothing. It's not going to be that much to have a wing of the government that costs what? Well, it would be expensive because the government's super inefficient with money. Say it costs $1 billion a year. That's nothing. We're 60 billion, trillion, quadrillion dollars in debt. Nobody cares. We throw a trillion here, trillion there. $1 billion a year to run a football team? Maybe we could have a separate football league like the XFL, but it's government run. And then there would be kind of like, you know how the Super Bowl used to be like it was like this, like you had 2 different leagues. You had the NFL, the AFL or whatever. And then like the Super Bowl was like find out who was the best team between these 2 separate deals. What it would be kind of like that. So the Packers win the Super Bowl because obviously, and then the Packers go play like the top government team. It's just the beating of it's like the freaking Harlem Globetrotters, just making them look stupid. I don't know. What are we even talking about here? Why don't we take a break? We'll come back and let's get back to Kyle from Madison since I think I skipped half of his question to begin with. We'll be right back.
Have you ever experienced turbulence on a flight and wondered why?
And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything?
No, everything's PG.
Maybe you've sat on the tarmac for hours wondering why your plane isn't moving.
Well, we're outside here. They're saying the ramp is closed. They won't let us park because of Air Force One.
Listen in on the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers on the Air Traffic Out of Control podcast.
512 Whiskey declaring an emergency. There's smoke in the cabin. I need to make a landing right now on 31 left.
We have the most interesting, wild, and funny ATC recordings you will ever hear. Check out Air Traffic Out of Control wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, buddy, one more point. I'm listening to your Brock Purdy, George Love podcast right now, and I think the 2 most, first of all, I don't care, but second, I mean, I care. I'm not besmirching your content. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of a straw man argument being propped up on Twitter for no freaking reason because it's like, you don't have to pick, and they're pretty close. Now, is it debatable? Yeah, it's absolutely debatable. You could really go either way. And I think in Love's favor is, yes, the 49ers are freaking loaded. Now, the Packers may end up being loaded, but for last year's production, yes, it was a bunch of babies out there. So you've got to take that into account. I mean, you really do. But also, if you had a syringe full of sodium pentothal, the truth serum that the CIA used to use in the Cold War, they probably still use it. But if you took a syringe full of that into Kyle Shanahan, you sat him down, and you made him choose, like, all right, which quarterback do you want on your team? He's picking George Love.
I think so.
I'm sorry. I just believe that.
I mean, bottom line is I agree with which I think was the conclusion I more or less came to, which is, first of all, who gives a crap? Like, we're nitpicking between 2 guys that were basically top quarterbacks last year. But I think, in defense of Purdy, it would make sense for the sake of cohesion. You could look at it and say, I think Jordan Love is a more gifted quarterback, but at the same time, it's working. Again, it might be like a Rodgers and and Brady thing, which actually really does work out. I mean, Brady doesn't have anywhere near the athleticism. He was a late round guy. All that, so it's kind of doubted that he's actually going to be that good. It's working. Why mess with it? You know what I mean? I don't know. I who cares?
You saw the limitations a little bit of Purdy in the Super Bowl. There was some throws that he didn't make that he should have made. I mean, there really was. There was a couple that really were important throws, and he didn't try them. He just couldn't do it. He couldn't get it there. He knew it. And I think Love makes them. So, tie down Kyle Shanahan, fill him full of truth serum. He's going to tell you he wants Jordan Love on his team, and they probably, I don't even want to think about that. Thankfully, that's not happening. So, but that's my, and we'll see. We'll see after a full year here, hopefully a full year of healthy team and everybody on the same page with at least a competent defense, hopefully. And we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, Steve.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more than happy with the situation I'm in. I think 49ers are more than happy with the situation that they're in. Brock Purdy has been a very good quarterback for the 49ers. He's probably underrated simply because of being picked in the 7th round, which I think is fair because there are limitations, but it's also, you have to acknowledge that the guy was just very good and consistently so. I mean, 2022, he was good. In 2023, he was significantly better. And he was good basically the entire year. He had one bad game against Cleveland week 6. Against Baltimore, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That looks terrible. They gave him a 65 grade. So I don't know if some of those weren't his fault or what. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But I mean, I think they got a good quarterback, as much as that sucks. And he got propped up by whatever. Whatever. I can't verify that, and nobody can, because I can't grab Purdy and put him over here and grab Love and put him over there and see how it goes. And I don't want to, because again, I think, and they probably don't want to. Great. Best of luck to you. We got our own thing, whatever. But again, my whole thing that I got annoyed with was the disparaging comments toward Love as though he doesn't belong in the conversation, which is stupid. That's what I don't like. There was a 49ers person and Packers person that were going to have some debate about who's better. I wouldn't do that because I really wouldn't want to be in the position of trying to defend Jordan Love. I mean, I think I could, but I don't think I want to because I don't know. I really don't. And I'm not going to take a very strong stance on that, other than to say, again, I'm more than happy. I mean, I genuinely mean it when I say I don't think there's a quarterback I would take over Love right now. I'm happy with where we're at. Love understands the system perfectly. He has shown elite capabilities that, rival anybody else in the NFL. And then take into account age and everything else. It's a perfect situation. It's perfect. I'm good.
Hey, also, you should know, and this is kind of creepy.
Okay.
But since you guys did your draft stream and we drafted Oladapo.
Yeah.
And you guys are playing the Home Depot theme, every 10 seconds for 5.5 hours.
Yes, I remember.
So now your podcast is, and I never once heard that before, and now every other commercial on your podcast is Home Depot.
Yep.
So, a little creepy. I mean, who's listening? Just thought I'd tell you. Careful what you say.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I'm not worried about it. I'm happy about it. They're apparently deciding to pay us. So, great. McDonald's, Burger King, Home Depot, Menards. Jordan Love likes to go to Culver's and eat cheese curds, even though he doesn't, because, I don't know, he's a weird freaking person. But Culver's is delicious. And they buy their meat from Walmart. Walmart is a place that you go and buy stuff. Just that's how I make money now. I just scream brands into the microphone and hope that somehow they hear it and are like, let's give that guy money. Apparently that's what Home Depot did. I don't know. But I did hear that. I didn't hear the actual ad because, again, I don't listen back to the podcast. I got too much crap going on. But the rumor did get back to my ears that Home Depot has been advertising on the show, and I'm very happy about it. Probably just a coincidence, but who knows? I will say that Home Depot theme song was in my head for a very long time. Don't. Oh boy, what do we do now? Andy from Kansas has got 3 calls. I don't want to do 3 calls. Let's do Garrett. I'm going to skip a bunch. We're going to go to Garrett because he has just one call, and then we'll probably get out of here.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Going on, Mike?
So just to recap the whole week, you've released several AI songs.
Correct.
For the podcast. And I think you really should do a compilation where you just have 4 or 5 or 6 of the songs just back to back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
For a podcast.
It's not a bad idea.
And just put all your AI ingenuity and creativity into a podcast of just songs about the Packers. And
it'd be funny if it was almost like an FM radio station kind of thing. I'd be like the DJ. I don't know. You thought, or I could just shut my mouth and do what you said. Would be also fine.
The draft and the cricket, but the song about butt liquor kind of creeped me out a little bit. It just, I don't know. There was just something about it just kind of creeped me out a little bit. It kind of felt like a horror movie narration of some sort.
You didn't like it?
So I don't know.
I liked it.
I mean, there's definitely some songs that make you tingle and songs make you cry. That one kind of put a little chill down my back. Kind of, I don't know. Anyway,
you got the Office reference, right? I mean, that's the important part. If you don't get the Office reference, I understand it'd be creepy, but you can't be a fan of the Office and not friggin' crack up listening to that. I lost it, man. I absolutely lost it. To everybody else that does not watch The Office, did not understand the reference, I apologize. I understand that was very creepy, but that was the hardest I've laughed in a very long time.
I'm encouraged by the rookies and their camp and some of the guys that kind of stepped up. I know Andy Herman kind of pointed out a few things that Grant Dubose, didn't really do anything spectacular to stand out or anything, but that rookie from Iowa State did. Kind of makes me think, do we have a Lazard Part 2 coming? So, but Marshawn looks pretty solid running, but I know it's just shorts, like you say. They're running in shorts. But got to get a little bit excited about something.
Yeah.
So here's to a great weekend, and keep those AI songs coming. I just think you need to do a compilation so that we can fully just go back and appreciate all of them all at once.
I get it.
That way they're not forgotten, Ryan, and we can always just easily find them to listen to them on a road trip or while we're doing a graveyard shift or something, because they are definitely entertaining, and we need some entertainment in our lives sometimes, and you definitely provide that. So keep it up. I'm out.
It's funny you said that too, because it's like, I should do that, but I'm also thinking I might be working on songs for our draft picks, possibly. And my thought was, I'm just going to attach them to some hype videos. That's either going to be, I'm just going to rip it off YouTube, which, not to try to steal anything. They usually put their, like, who created it or whatever, but it's just using that as the video and then putting my song on it. Or I've started collecting some clips because I was watching, for example, Kalen King, and again, I've given my thoughts on him, collected a few clips. I can kind of put my own thing together, but I'm creating a Kalen King song. I guess I'm starting in reverse. I didn't really think about doing it for everybody, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe could like release a little album for our draft picks. The Kalen King song is not done. It's a work in progress. You want a little preview? A little tiny preview.
King on the throne, watch Kalen's reign commence.
There you go. I'm really trying to work with so getting into the weeds here before we end this. I found out in the AI deep interweb, there's this mysterious AI thing that just popped up, and it's believed to be GPT like 4.5, maybe, possibly 5. In other words, the next best thing. Anyways, I've been interacting with that and a few others to really try to fine-tune the songwriting, because it can be a little, if you just do it flat out, like write a song about this, they're decent, but they're kind of like, if a middle schooler wrote a rap song or something, or if I did it where it's just kind of like lazy rhyming, sort of. I've really done a pretty good job of refining that and fine-tuning that to get some There are a couple lines in this song in particular where you look at it and you're like, oh, that ain't bad. Got it to kind of like, you know, the whole wordplay thing with him being king. The crown is heavy, but in battle it's his to defend. And stuff like that. It's pretty good. It's good stuff, Mike. All right, why don't we get out of here? You guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
When the field lights dim and Lambeau's still bright, on Packernet After Dark we light up the night. From Jay's tight coverage to Watson's deep spark, it's your insider's huddle when the game goes dark. Packernet After Dark, where the pack's got heart, we're blitzing the lines, breaking down every part. From first snap to last spark, we dissect the art. Packernet After Dark, where the real fans start. We've got Jordan's love and Dylan's bruising style, dubs and recap passes with flair and guile. Tune in, call out, don't fumble your chance to join the Packernet party where we all advance. From Lucas Hardheads to Kenny Clark's sack, Packernet After Dark keeps you on track. We're stacking the deck, we're blitzing with flair, so dial in, tune up, and we'll meet you there. Packernet After Dark, where the pack's got heart, we're blitzing the lines, breaking down every part. From first snap to last spark, we dissect the art. Packernet After Dark, where the real fans start. So grab your cheesehead and don't miss your mark. It's Packernet After Dark, where legends in